Hello, welcome to Artemis Dice Company. I am Sam, and I'm so excited to be back with another YouTube video today because today I am doing my first ever interview on this channel. Actually, I think it's like my first ever interview ever. And I've been really excited to do this since I launched my channel. I had all these grand plans to do interviews with all sorts of people. And, like I have a life and they have lives and ADHD and stuff. So we have not managed to get a single interview done on this channel. But today, I think I have a really fun treat for you. I was scrolling TikTok, as I very often do. And I came across one of my very good friends, Katie of Unyielding Bastian, who had started a new dice series called Dice. Why are they balanced? And I was instantly drawn to it as a dice maker who gets constant questions about dice balance. And I remember in the very beginning as a dice maker, I tried so hard to answer with like compassion and details and give really great answers. And then as I got this question 47 million more times, especially on every single video I've ever made that has gone viral, it wears on you and you become like grizzled, like a veteran of something. So I had been planning to do a dice balance long form video here on YouTube. And one of the reasons I hadn't gotten around to it yet is because I didn't know how to do it without having that weightiness of like a chip on my shoulder right from the beginning. And so I thought, how fun if we talked about dice balance on YouTube from somebody who is applying science and reason and logic as to why dice are usually mostly balanced enough to play a game of D&D. Let's be real here. We don't have money on the line. So without further ado, Katie. This is Katie.
Hello. Hello. I'm Katie. I am Unyielding Bastian. I'm glad to be here.
If you are interested in following Katie, you can find Katie on both TikTok and Instagram at unyielding_Bastian. And if you want to see all of these videos she's been putting out about why dice are balanced, you can check all of those out on TikTok for now. They might end up on Instagram in the future, but for now they are only available on TikTok. And I will link all of that down below. And we've also got some of it here on the top of the screen, so you don't have to think too hard. But I thought today we would just do like a really quick rundown of a lot of what Katie has been talking about. I think it's really important to get this message out. I also think Katie's doing it in a really great way. Feels like she's not feeding the trolls, she's just giving really good advice, which is, I feel like, a skill that I do not possess.
Oh, it's coming. Don't worry.
That's really what I'm most excited about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. One of the things that originally I had this idea in my head for a while, but one of the things was seeing one of our dear friends have to once again defend why their dice were balanced. And it was just enough. Me just scrolling through and seeing it, I went, no, the time is now. The time is absolutely now. The character that my platform is sort of based on, one of the phrases that within the game she's very popular, or at least renowned within our little D&D world for saying, is that you say I can't protect them all, but watch me try. And so I'm trying to keep that alive and at least make a video series that someone can refer to when they're dealing with a troll, and I can calmly, little bit angry, give why dice are balanced from the very beginning, back with Play-Doh, until now with experimental dice design.
Well, I love that. That's great. So let's just get into it.
So, beginning back in ancient times, philosophers like Plato thought about the shapes of dice and why they were necessary. Even back in those days, they played games with the D20 because that shape itself is ancient. Tabletop games and spending time with your friends and rolling dice of various different kinds has been around for thousands and thousands of years. So the very first portion, or the very first category of dice that were created, were called the Platonic solids. Every angle, every face is the same, so that each one of those faces has an equal chance of landing, so that you are getting the most random result when you roll your dice. As time has gone on and more brilliant people came to the scene, individuals like Eugene Catalan decided he wanted to test how necessary the angles of the platonic solids were, and he found through various trials and errors and different hypotheses that you can still have a very valid and very balanced die if the angles are a little bit different on each face. Those allow for larger numbers or uneven numbers to be done and it still be very reliable. Also, as time has gone on, while several of the shapes that have existed still exist today, new shapes and new pretty things can be designed using these sort of ideas and designs and tactics, such as like the rhombic D6 coming out and being popular within the last few years, or like the rhombic D12 and the things that you see in different dice makers' inventories. But my mind was going to the D4 because that's one you'll see a lot of variation with between the shard, the traditional pyramid straight from hell, or the crystal that's the more long log shaped one. Beyond that, sometimes in various different situations, you might need uneven numbers. You might have uneven things to choose from. When working with those kind of shapes and those kind of variations, dice makers can look at a shape and see how different dice react to their environment. It can strategically shape things in order to create more accurate results. But when you get into those sort of situations, sometimes it's a matter of trial and error of finding the most balanced result. And they may not be 100% accurate like the platonic solids would be, which are the most common form of dice that you see in TTRPG settings.
Well, I'm excited to see the rest of your series. How much more do you have to cover? Like, I know we're going to talk about density,
Yeah.
and I don't know what
Density
else.
is probably going to be one that I cover in maybe two, maybe three, depending on how much goes on with it. With the density video, I'm going to focus on like, I'm trying to edit it in a way where I can physically show that, yes, this is all made out of resin. And I have different pieces of a complete like ship diorama die and have it set up and like have different forms of D20 dice and like see the process of them. But also I want to talk about like the chemical structures of these to not only show you that this is all the same material, but also let's talk about like, yes, I have different brands and here's what they are. That's probably going to be the big focus at first. And then I'll start segmenting off and talking about, okay, dried flowers. Let's talk about foil. Let's talk about all the stuff that we put in to make our dice be really pretty, that's fun, and basically prove that everything is balanced because that's the thing that we see the most of in all of the fun comments. And I've even reached out to a few dice making individuals and they've sent me screenshots of their own comments. And I'm taking all usernames out. I'm not about to blast somebody in particular, but I'm taking the text and I'm going to just plaster it all over the first like intro page and be like, let's answer this.
I love that. And then for the rest of my life, when somebody asks me a dice balance question, I'm just going to stitch that.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep the link. Just be like, go. Send them my way. I have been incredibly fortunate that I don't get a lot of it, so I'm going to try and change that. Bring the trolls to me. I'm sassy enough.
That's amazing. It's funny too. There definitely does seem to be more of that with some of the bigger TikTok creators. And I don't know if that's just because like bigger accounts attract more trolls or just we find a bigger audience so there's more people to ask. I suspect
I
it's
think
mostly the troll
also,
thing though.
yeah, I kind of think so too, because while yes, I've noticed that a lot of bigger makers do these bigger projects of very big dice with a very pretty diorama in it and it immediately throws people off visually because it's basically just an optical illusion. But also even if that's not even on the screen, there's people that will find something to pick on someone about.
I use a lot of inclusions in my dice making. Obviously, like I
Mhm.
do use like resin, 3D printed stuff, but I mean, it's very rare that I make a set of dice that doesn't have like foil or
Yeah.
mylar or something
Hmm.
that's in it. Like it's just very much my style of dice making. I just like just love to shove a bunch of stuff in some dice and see how
Absolutely.
they
It's
look.
I love to think each time, how much stuff can I fit in this set before it becomes problematic?
I never loved glitter bombs. I did try to do that once where like I threw a bunch of different types of glitter. The one
Yeah, those
attempt that I
things are
did, it looked
fun.
like snot. I don't know how people make them
Yeah,
look good. Like mad props to the people who can pull off a glitter bomb because that is not. I shove like
you taught
foil
me
and
well
mylar,
for
but
that. Very fair. Yeah. I tried to do a green glitter set at some point, and it looked like the Hulk had sneezed in very specific places.
oh my god, that's awful.
I think maybe to bring back around after density, I'm going to just kind of taper off and talk about the different types of inclusions that we can use. Maybe talk about some questions that I've gotten in the comments about like raised faces and issues that we dice makers deal with that also comes back to keeping our dice balanced and of a nice quality and functional and all of that kind of stuff.
I think
But I think that's
I think
something
doing like a Q and
for
A video is actually a great idea.
I think that would be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like save up kind of some of the best questions you get during the series and like I like that. That's neat.
Yeah, and that would boost interaction and
Hmm.
possibly push it a little bit further.
Another thought I had, and I don't know any of the science behind it. That's totally you. But I know one thing that we dice makers who get the balance question a lot. One of the answers we like to give is that they love to challenge small handmade dice makers that are like one person businesses, but they never challenge companies like Chessex, Die Hard, or I don't know any other big companies.
Yeah,
I can literally think of two right now
yeah.
because my brain doesn't work. But,
Nor with
one of the answers that we give a lot, especially in regards to Chessex, because I've seen it, is that Chessex tends to be full of bubbles. Like I have seen somebody
right.
smash a D20 open and it was full of bubbles because they don't use a pressure pot or their material is slightly different. So I wasn't sure if you were going to talk about that at all, about like what effect bubbles can have.
I have a bag of Chessex ready to be chopped open.
That was lovely. Katie, thank you so much
Absolutely.
for taking the time. This was
A whole lot of
fun.
fun.
I want to do
Yeah,
this
it was
now,
like
like,
going out with a group.
I know. I want to do this now like every week. I need to make more dice maker friends so I can have lots of people on. We should make it a podcast. Let's just do it. Let's just do it every week. We'll throw it on iTunes and Apple Music, Spotify.
Hey, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. A podcast of just my dice makers talking about making dice.
Did you bring something to show us?
These are all Chessex dice. That's going to be an episode where I cut them open and show you all the voids and bubbles within and prove that while these are probably as close to balanced as they can be, this was made by someone who didn't care. It's not balanced. I can see one with a bubble right now that's transparent, actually.
And just to be clear, I want to get this out of the way so you don't come at me in my comment section. I'm not giving Chessex hate. I have so many sets of Chessex dice. I love them. We're going to kind of circle back to one of, I think, the most important topics of conversation when we're talking about dice balance. And that is, this is a game that you play with your friends. And it is okay if the dice that you use are not 100% perfectly balanced, because at the end of the day, they are random enough, even with bubbles, to have fun. Unless your dice is rolling a 1 or a 4 or a 6, like every single time you roll it, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Just
Even
play.
with perfectly balanced dice, because there's a curse. Some people are just cursed to roll bad, even if the dice is completely balanced and there's no problems whatsoever. I'm going to roll a 3 every time.
Well, not every time. So if I do like a nature check to see what kind of flower that is, that's a nat 20 every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when it's a flower that doesn't matter. Literally any checks I ever make that are unimportant, aces. All right, Katie. Well, the more you know. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm going to find another reason to bring you back on the show. We'll talk about something else.
Anytime you call, I will answer.
I'm going to put that to the test. What inappropriate times of day can I call Katie?
You're going to call me at 12:30 and be like, are you up?
See, I was thinking more like 5:30 in the morning when Artemis wakes up, which would be what, 4:30 to you? Like 12:30 is not that bad.
I may still be awake. I may not have gone to sleep yet.
It was nice hanging out. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.